Today you are going to budget with me as I walk you through our December 2020 budget. Hello and welcome to the Looking After Your Pennies YouTube channel. My name is Charlotte Jessup and we are going to walk through my budget for this month. So let me give you some background. At present, we are a one income family. So back in March, my family and I we were traveling around the world, making a bit of money as we go, using up some of our savings to have the adventure that we've been planning for such a long time. And then obviously COVID came along, and in March, we basically crash landed back into our old life, but without the jobs that we had before. So I took my business, which is the Looking After Your Pennies empire, and made that into a full-time income. So all the money that we had coming in was from that business, and for a long time that was the way it went. And my husband was looking after the kids so that I could work, but now he's just moved and he started a job again, so we're kind of transitioning. So this budget is probably the last budget that I'm going to do that's just us as a one income household. We've got a little bit of money that's come from my husband's job that he's just started, but this is us as a one income household, and what is probably a kind of average month for us at the moment, but it should go up as my husband starts working and starts bringing in some more money. So I'm really excited to walk you through this and, walk through my journey and what it's like to kind of budget when you're self-employed and you don't quite know what money you're going to get. So this is what I have to do every month. So I'm going to show you using our budget spreadsheet and walk you through where the figures come from and the process that I go through ready for the month ahead. So you can do the same with your budget and you can apply some of the principles and ideas that I use with my budget to your own budget, and we can end the year, end 2020, in a better way than the rest of the year's gone, hopefully. So I'm really excited to go through this with you. So here is my budget spreadsheet, and this is the one that is available free on my website. So if you go to lookingafterpennies.com/sign up, if you enter your email address in there, then you get access to all of my freebies, and one of those freebies is this budget spreadsheet. So some of these figures have been pulled through already, and I've typed in some of the numbers just so that we can get started quickly without you having to watch me type in all of the numbers. So over on this left hand side we have the income. So as I'm self-employed, I tend to work a month behind. So this is the amount of money that I made during November, and then I'm going to use December to spend it all. So you can see there that I've got my wage. That's all the money that I earned from my business, from my side hustles in November. Now, my husband, who's just got a new job, got paid a little bit, so I've added that in there. So you can see the total that we've earned from wages in this section here. We also get child benefit. We've got 2 kids. So that comes in at £140. And then we've got this total income at the bottom there. So I just type these things in so that I know the income. Now, it's not something that I ever assume. So I'm not sitting there going, oh, I think we roughly get paid this. I always know the figures. As you can see, I put it in to the pence. And with the child benefit, it is exactly £140. It's a nice number, but that's exactly what it is. So then we have this total income, and over on the right hand side where you can see it says balance, you can see that number there under income tallies up with the total income over on the left hand side. Now, a lot of these figures are the same each month. So when we look at expenditure, I am spending the same on many of these things every month. But I'll talk you through in a minute how I double check these to make sure that I'm not being complacent. So in this spreadsheet, I've broken it down into different sections. So I have a housing section, utilities, food and drink, transport, and then we have savings, entertainment, insurances, personal and giving. I'm not quite sure what's happened with the boxes here, but that's fine. We can ignore that. It doesn't affect the spreadsheet. Now, in addition to that, I have these little figures about the goals. So this is the percentage of my income that I'm spending on each section. So the percentage that is here is calculated based on the amount I'm spending versus my income. So currently I am spending £527-ish, and that is 22% of the income that we have coming in, and I don't want to spend more than 35% on that. So let's go through some of these things then. So my mortgage is in there. Thankfully, we're in a position where our mortgage is quite low. We could choose to pay more on that. Not something we're currently doing at the moment, but it might be something with my husband back working that we look to do in the future. We've also got council tax, which is just an exact figure again. There's no pence on that. We moved into this house kind of like partway through a year, so that might change in the new year. But for now, that is accurate. So those things don't change. It's the same with these figures in the utility section. Those don't change either. They're constant. Our electricity and gas is higher during the 6 months in the winter than in the summer, so it drops during the summer. I will come back to food and drink and transport. I'm going to skip over now to entertainment. And actually, thanks to lockdown and the national restrictions that we have here in England at the moment, we're not spending loads on that. So actually, I'm only spending, I have a Netflix subscription, which is the TV that's there, and that goes out on the 1st. We're not having any days out because, you know, that's illegal. And holidays is not something, I haven't had a holiday, and it definitely didn't cost for 50 quid. But I will come back to that in a minute. The next one is insurances. So we have life insurance, which is joint life insurance for my husband and I. House insurance, I will come back to. We also have an insurance that comes with our bank that is for car breakdown, mobile phone insurance, travel insurance, and a few other bits and pieces as well that we've decided to keep going because actually it works out less than having those combined insurances. Haven't got anything in personal at the moment. I did pop into giving, and it is my granddad's birthday in December, so I've popped £25 in there as for a gift for him for his birthday. So those things are fixed. So the things I've talked about already are fixed. They're not anything that I can change at the moment. They're not things that I get to choose how much they are at this point. Those are the things that are my fixed costs. Now I choose to include my fixed costs as kind of in the general mix of the expenditure, just because I prefer to categorize them by section instead. I like to have these percentages for each section. And if I split them as fixed costs and variable costs, then I don't get that distinction, okay? So now at this point, once I've done my budget, once I've got those things in that I know they're going to be the same price and things that I kind of have to pay, then I go through and I add the other things in. So the first example on this list is groceries. And, you know, food and drink in general, really. So eating out is one that I don't have to worry about. I'm probably not, once the restrictions lift, going to go and head out and eat out. I haven't done it since March. I think actually the last time that we ate out was when we were in Budapest at the end of March. So I'm not going to be eating out anytime soon, and probably not in December. So I'm not going to budget anything there because I just don't think it's going to happen. Groceries though, we have, we spend about £80 a week on food. Now you might be thinking that's quite a lot, but actually I have dietary requirements. I have to eat gluten-free and I'm lactose intolerant. So some of the things that you get for fairly cheap, like bread and milk, I have to pay a premium for. So that generally works for us as a family of 4. And I'm also aware that from the 18th of December, the kids are going to be off school and off nursery. So my youngest currently gets free meals for lunch at school. So we're going to have to buy food for her then. So we might need to put that up. I'm not including Christmas food in this because actually we have a sinking fund for Christmas. So I have a pot of money that's set to one side that Christmas gets paid out on. So that's not part of my general budgeting. So I'm not needing to spend more money from my monthly income pot to pay for that. We do like a takeaway though, so I put £30 in there, and actually I'm probably going to put that up to 50 because it's Christmas, and like my husband and I do like a takeaway on like Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, so I am going to put a bit more into that pot. And as you can see, as I'm doing this, if you look over on the balance sheet, that expenditure tallies up with the total expenditure that's at the bottom there. And it allows me to see how much I'm going to have left over. Now, my aim when I'm doing this is to get that balance to be zero. I do not want anything left over. So I'm just going to keep working through this with the aim that I'm not going to have anything left to spend at the end, okay? So the next one is transport. So again, we're not really going anywhere. So I've put £50 in for fuel, but actually I don't think I'm going to need to fill up. The only place that I'm really driving to is to my daughter's nursery. And that takes like 5 or 6 minutes to get there. So it's not a huge drive. It's not going to cost me a huge amount of money. If I do decide to fill up, then it's going to cost me about £50. But that I've put that in there just in case, but it's not one that I need to, that I'm not particularly worried about spending this month. So these next two, car insurance and car tax. Now, I pay for these annually. So these are due in March because that's when we returned home and had to get our car back on the road. So actually what I generally do with these figures is pop them in red. So I'm going to change those to red because these are amounts that I'm going to pop into a sinking fund. So on the first, and this is when this video has gone out, these amounts go straight into a sinking fund out of my account. So I think of them as a payment, but actually they're sitting in a savings account ready for March when I'm going to use those. Okay, next up is savings. So this is savings and investing. Now we like to go big on our savings and investing, even though our income isn't huge. As you can see here, we're sort of saving and investing 40+%, okay? So these two figures here are really important, but again, these are not payments out, and so I like to pop them in red to show that I have some element of flexibility in those. Now, this personal one is genuinely personal. We are in the position where we have an emergency fund that is there for us if we need to dip into it. So that would last us probably a year if we needed it to. But actually, we haven't been in the position where we need that emergency fund to date. So it's sitting there and it's there if we need to dip into it. So when I'm talking about savings, these are our personal goals. We would very much like to go traveling again. So in my bank account, I have a little part that is for saving for our next traveling adventure, and we like to throw as much money into that as we can. So I move every month £500 into that account as savings. And same with investing. So this is looking ahead at my future and my husband's future in terms of retiring. So we put £500 into our investing accounts, and that is going towards retirement. So that money will not be spent, essentially. That is there for the long haul. So yeah, we've got £1,000 that's essentially going towards good things in the future, and that we're not actually spending in that month. So I pop those in red because those are essentially glorified sinking funds, I suppose. They're saving now for something long, long way in the future. TV we've talked about. Holidays, this is again gonna go in red because this is a sinking fund. Now I'm hoping that at some point next year we will get to go away. It's probably not going to be a big holiday. It's not going to be the same as this huge one that we're saving up for here under savings, but it would be nice to have a weekend away or go camping for a week or something like that with the kids. So in there, I am putting £50 every month towards a little holiday so that we can enjoy that at some point in hopefully 2021. Just at some point soon would be great. So another example of a sinking fund is our house insurance. Again, we pay that one annually. So this is an annual payment, so it's going in red. It normally comes in at about £120, so I put £10 in there. But if I need to pay more, then I can always take that out of that monthly pot. But I think that will probably cover it. I think the last one was only about £90, so this should more than cover it for a year. And then the only other thing that we consider, so at this point, we have about £11.96 left. Now, it would be fab at this point if we were thinking about personal allowances, toiletries, clothes, but actually that's not something that is particularly important to us at the moment. With the current situation that's going on in the world, we don't particularly need those things. And it's December, it's Christmas. So a lot of the things that we want or are going to enjoy are going to actually come out of our sinking fund that we've had for Christmas. So we have a pot of money there, and we're going to get gifts and lots of things, lots of nice things that are already budgeted for. So the need to have that personal allowance this month isn't great. We don't really need those things. The kids are going to be at school for the next 3 weeks. My husband's working, I'm working. We're not going to go anywhere. We don't really need to spend anything. So we're not going to really need that personal allowance. So actually, I'm just going to leave that for now. I don't need clothes, I don't need toiletries, I'm well stocked up, so we don't need those things. So the last part will be under giving. So actually what I'm going to do here is, I think it's gone somewhere. So I'm just going to pop in another row there under giving that I'm going to call other, and this is where I'm going to put that 11.96. Now I quite like to give more money. So what I may do is like that doesn't particularly feel like a great amount to be giving away, but what I may do is if I do some side hustles over the next month, I may put some of that money towards giving as those things come in. So actually, I will use some of the money that I make through my side hustles during this next month to actually top up the giving. It's something I kind of tend to do as I go rather than to budget for it. We kind of aim to give some money away to family and then some money away to other causes. But I now know that I've got that 11.96 to play with, and that feels good to have there. But that's probably the one thing that I would like to do more of. So, excuse me. So the next thing that I will do whenever I'm budgeting, so now I've pretty much allocated all my money. As you can see in that balance section, it's now 0. I've flagged up all my sinking funds. I've got all my fixed costs in there, all my variable costs. It's looking kind of good at this stage. I don't think there's anything that I've missed. I had a check through, so normally I will do this alongside my bank account, see what's come out, see what I need to pay for. This is looking pretty good. So I have a box up here that's just caught my eye, that's house maintenance. We currently have a bit of we've got nothing expecting to do. We've been doing a lot of work around the house, so I'm not actually planning to spend any money on house maintenance. Normally, I would have an amount in here that will go into a sinking fund that would work towards house maintenance. But we recently had an insurance claim thanks to the tenants that lived in our house when we were traveling. And that provided us with a good amount of money. So we've done a new kitchen on it, whole new flooring downstairs, and so a whole load of it's paid for lots. And there's still some money in there. So I don't feel the need to top that up yet. Probably in the new year, I will kick that one off again just to add to that pot, or to deal with anything that arises over the next sort of few months. There's always little things that can crop up with houses. Okay, so at this point, I will start then to look at some of the things that I think I need to work on. And the main one that sticks out to me, and I'm going to change, I'm going to fill this a different colour. So I'm going to pop that in a yellow. So this utility, so gas and electricity. So when we first moved back into our house, we went onto the old plan that we were on before. So our tenants used the one that we were on. It's a good, eco-friendly and green company, and obviously that means a lot to me. And before we left, it was the best price possible. I'm not convinced at this point that we're getting the best price. It was fine during the summer. It was really low. We weren't paying a lot on it, but now that has gone up because it's the winter. And I want to be sure that I'm getting the best price on that. So I'm going to spend some time during this month to see if I can switch energy providers and get a better deal on that. I'm going to use a cashback site to look at that. But this is part of my process of budgeting. I will go through these things and look to see if there's any way that I can reduce these bills. Now, water has isn't going to change, hasn't changed. The phone and the internet were in the contract, so we've got a few months on that before we can change that, so I'm not going to do anything about that. But mobile phone is one that I've been meaning to look at for a little while. This is, I am out of contract. I've been on a SIM-only contract for a while, so I'm ready to change or upgrade, get a new phone, whatever I want to do, but I'm overpaying and I'm aware of that. So it's one thing that's on my to-do list for December is to reduce that cost. And again, I'm going to look for cashback deals. I'm going to look for the best deals around and make sure I get my money, or at least get some value for money on that one. So don't be complacent when you are doing your budget. Make sure that you are looking at the things that come up every month and see if you can get a deal. Now, the other one is this Netflix subscription. I have been paying this for a while. Now, I don't know if Netflix are the sort of people where you try and cancel, they try and give you some freebies, but I might give that a go and see how that goes. Or maybe look for some sort of discount code or something like that to see if I can reduce that cost. Other than that, I don't think there's any other things that I can particularly look at reducing at this point. We're not spending a huge amount. This is a basic budget. There's not a whole lot going on. If we were going out and we were doing things, then we would probably have more that we would need to spend, but we are not at the moment. So this is it for us. That's our budget. So make sure if you're budgeting along with me, you fill in this income over on the left-hand side. Put everything in there. If you've got side hustle income, you might want to pop it in there. I've lumped mine all in together because it often feels like the same thing with the line of work that I do. Then go through each of the sections, get the exact figures. Then have a look at those things that are sinking funds. Type in any variable costs and make sure that you have systems set aside to transfer these things into different places so that you don't get your money muddled. And you're going to aim to have that as a zero on your balance. You do not want anything left over. Make sure it's all accounted for. And then have a look at those things that you can maybe edit over the course of the month. Can you, by the time January comes around, I'm hoping that I will maybe have reduced some of these things. So it'll be interesting to see if I've actually done what I said I would and got a discount on some of these particular items. But yeah, that's it. So there we have it. That's my budget. That's the process I go through every time I put together my budget. I do this every month and I keep an eye on my budget as I go through the month. So I will not just ignore this now. I will keep an eye on it over the next few weeks and see how it goes. Obviously, December is a bit of a weird month and 2020 is a bit of a weird year. So this isn't what I would call a typical budget, but the process is the normal process that I go through. This is what I do every month and I will keep doing forever and just watching things change and build up, and I just keep an eye on it. Now, one of the things that I haven't included in this particular video is how I track our net worth, so our investments, our savings, the value of our property and how those things change. Now, I will put together another video where I show you exactly how I monitor these things. And if you get my free budgeting spreadsheet, which I'll drop a link below this video for you, you will see that on the side of that, there is a section where you can look at things like your assets, your liabilities, your debts, and you can keep a track of your net worth. I haven't included that in this video, but I will do that in a future video so you can see exactly how I monitor those figures on a month-by-month basis. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and leave me a comment below. Let me know how your budget is looking for December. I would love to hear your thoughts about my process, so please drop those below. And I hope that you pop along for my next video.